moving quickly, another handoff to Rankin. Rankin finds a hole, he's at the 30, makes it to the 20, he's got one man to beat. Rankin walks into the end zone. Into the backfield, Braden Wright looks over top, he's going to try to find a man, he's got Alec Tatum. Tatum bobbles it, but he's in the end zone. What a connection between Braden Wright and Alec Tatum. Handoff to Rankin, Rankin right up the middle, and he's in the end zone for a Bearcat touchdown.
That the views expressed in today's show do not reflect the views of KZLX, KNWT, or Northwest Missouri State University. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Here with you as we prepare for everything this weekend in the sports world. Kind of focus on the NFL here a little bit today, as that's the sport in full force right now, working week 4 into week 5. Week 4, the interesting thing, we kind of have to monitor it as we go, but with week 4, COVID playing a little bit more of a role, we knew that a game would be postponed to a later time with the Steelers and the Titans. However, we get to Saturday, and Kansas City and New England, some positive tests there, so that game got postponed today to Monday. And I think looking at that game, everybody else, they were able to kind of contact trace, determine everyone else was negative, play the game on Monday night, but between Cam Newton being the big name that was not able to play, it kind of really changed the tone of the game for Kansas City and New England. That's the first game we'll talk about here, but it really changed that tone of the game, but also kind of changed everything for New England not having Cam Newton at the quarterback position.
Yeah, we all kind of talked about how we all thought, this game was going to be close. It's going to be a good game, close game. Cam Newton, showing out against the Chiefs. But he gets COVID, and then you have to throw in Brian Hoyer, who knows this offense very well. But unfortunately, knowing the offense isn't as good as, playing well. Like, you can know the offense well. That doesn't mean you're going to play well. And Brian Hoyer certainly did not play well.
Patriots defense did enough, at least in the first half, that this should have been a game that the Patriots were at least in by the end. It was, you're looking at 6-3 at halftime. You hold the Kansas City Chiefs to 6 points at halftime, you should be leading.
Yeah, and if they had Cam Newton, they probably would be.
Oh, yeah.
But you look at the Patriots, too, left a lot of points on the board between turnovers in the red zone, mistakes, and there were, you could look back, 13 points were left on the board during the course of that game, so that changes the end of game scenario where when you bring Stidham in, you bench Brian Hoyer, bring Jarrett Stidham in, can maybe do a little bit different things there to make him more comfortable, instead throw him in the fourth quarter and say, okay, we're down 2 scores, kind of have to go gunsling around. And we saw him throw an interception. We saw Julian Edelman gift a pick 6. So for the Patriots, it was about what you expected, losing your quarterback the day before you go to play Kansas City. And then with the postponement, it kind of just seemed it rattled everybody just because the timing was off. But for Kansas City, we talk about how they looked against Baltimore 1 week ago and looked like an unstoppable force. And then you watch this Kansas City team 1 week later. It's like, where was the team from Baltimore? Kansas City did not play well, did not look good. Patrick Mahomes ended up with 2 touchdown passes, but made some mistakes. Probably should have had 2 interceptions in this game. One was brought down to a call the Patriots normally get. That was an atrocious call.
Terrible.
But
it was an incomplete pass, is what they ruled it.
Yes, they ruled it an incomplete pass.
It
was
never
not
touched
an
the
incomplete
ground.
pass.
It should have either been a fumble or an interception.
Yeah.
Right. The only call that could have kept that from being a turnover was they stopped forward motion, which we've seen that before with Tom Brady quite often. Is they'll, as soon as he gets touched, they'll blow it dead. That was just weird. And the one thing is you got to give the special teams coach of Kansas City credit. They knew what was going on. They got the punt unit out there and they got that punt off. And
Dave Tobas.
And that was
fantastic.
that was kind of lost in that while Bill Belichick and the Patriots were screaming that the play was terrible. I don't even think anyone knew what the call actually was. And Kansas City said, "We don't care. We're punting it away." And I don't know.
I was laughing so hard.
And that was early enough in the game. It may have changed the way this game went, but the Patriots were just all out of sorts, and Kansas City just has that ability to say, you know what, we're kind of going to cruise. They've done that now with the Chargers. They've done that with the Patriots. It seems as though in games they think they should easily win, they kind of just come in, cruise, and then they're like, oh, we're in a game. Maybe we should turn it on for a quarter. They do that, get enough of a lead, and then cruise the rest of the way, and that's just what Kansas City seemed to do.
To me, the biggest thing in this game that kind of cemented the victory for the Chiefs was the last play of the first half when Brian Hoyer tried to call a timeout after he got sacked, and he shouldn't have even gotten sacked in the first place. The Patriots were easily in field goal range. They would have tied the game up at 6, and they would have gotten the ball. The Patriots would have coming out of a halftime. But instead, Brian Hoyer took a sack with no timeouts to end the half. They couldn't get the field goal up, went in trailing, and I think that was a big momentum killer for the Patriots from the beginning.
This is the least Patriots I've ever seen the Patriots look.
Yes.
They look like the Browns or something. Like,
Well, and it looked
Browns look good now.
yeah, like it was weird. Like they were making amateur mistakes.
that I agree with that, and it wasn't just you kind of expected that from the quarterback position, but you were getting it from Julian Edelman. You were getting it from the late in the game defensive assignments were missed that you don't normally see the Patriots do, and
You saw early on in the game, McCourty dropped a very easy interception.
yeah, Mahomes has 0 interceptions this season, and he makes a lot of throws where he knows the defense is offside that get interceptions brought back. But the amount of defensive backs when you're going to play Mahomes, do some extra catching drills in practice because the amount of interceptions that DBs drop, and it might be because Mahomes throws the ball a little bit harder than everybody else, but Mahomes should not have 0 interceptions this season, and it's not just from the Patriots game. So he still has 0 interceptions. That mistake hasn't come to haunt him yet. But even that one play with McCourty, it was a situation where it looked like Mahomes just kind of between the receivers, just misread where everyone was supposed to be on the field because there were 2 Chiefs there. Both of them had a step on their defender, and the ball didn't end up anywhere near either of those players. So it was just a clunky game all around. I attribute that to the delay, moving it back a day. It just throws the whole timing, throws everything off a little bit. And now it makes it a little bit difficult for Kansas City. Already we're going to have a difficult schedule. We move it back one day, have a Sunday game now, and then turn around and have a Thursday game. So in terms of timing, a tough stretch here for KC moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe they have one more game before they play the Bills, play the Raiders this upcoming week. But I feel like obviously you don't want to overlook the Raiders because they're a very good team. Better than people probably thought. They beat the Saints. So definitely don't want to overlook the Raiders, look ahead to the Bills because that's definitely the big matchup that everyone's waiting for, in the AFC at least.
Yeah, and we'll get to all those Week 5 matchups here in a little bit. We'll go through some other Week 4 scores from Week 4 in the NFL. The Bengals got their first win of the year, 33-25. And then we'll get to this one. Sam, we'll see what we get from him. He's not happy. The Browns smack the Cowboys 49-38, but at one point it was 41-14.
Smack is a difficult word to hear when you see the score, but yeah, that's exactly what they did to the Dallas defense.
There was a lot of garbage time.
It wasn't garbage time. It was
Help
just
to the Dallas Cowboys
comeback attempt.
When it's 41-14, that is considered garbage time.
They almost won this game though.
The Cowboys
came back and won.
Yeah, they scored 14 points in the first quarter. They scored 24 points in the fourth quarter to the Cowboys. They scored 0 in the second and third quarters.
So what we learned is the Browns tried to revert back to previous Browns, and
I don't know if this is much of the Browns.
You do realize the Cowboys should be 0-4 right now, right?
I realize that if the Cowboys had any single crumb of defense, they should be 4-0 right now.
Huh?
What?
If they had any defense at all, they'd be 4-0. But since they have the worst
I'll
defense in the NFL,
I'll give him some of that. The Cowboys'
Maybe they're
defense
2-2.
is struggling,
2-2 or 3-1,
and it would help,
yeah.
but
That's
not
They don't want the
4-0.
Seahawks.
I feel like if they had a better defense, they'd definitely beat the Seahawks the way Dak Prescott played that game.
Russell Wilson still played better that day than Dak.
Yeah, but if they had a defense, maybe he wouldn't have. We'll never know. These are what ifs.
We'll now switch over. We'll start looking at Week 5 before we do, we'll look at the current pick standings for the WSK crew. This last week, Grant got a couple games back with an 11-3 week. I had a 10-4 week.
He took the Andrew Botwinick.
And the,
you know,
the Sams both went 9-5. They've basically had the same record every week but one. They're like-minded. They got the same name. They pick the same a lot. So.
On the same show.
Indeed.
It will be your guys' downfall.
Steinmeier does have the advantage, 41-18. Reeves with second place at 40-19, and then Grant jumped me to take third at 38-21, and I'm bringing up last, 37-22. A lot of time left.
A lot of time, but Grant, to his credit, he took the Andrew Botwinick route, picking some, games that went away from the rest of the group, and
it worked this week. The problem is he going to do it again and give it all right back?
Yeah,
that's
what
question.
that's what happens
ride
to
this
Andrew.
wave. We got to ride it.
And we'll start with the Cardinals at 2-2, 7-point favorites at the Jets, 0-4. Do the Jets get a win this week?
No.
Okay.
No.
The Cardinals are so upset that they've dropped these past two games. Kyler Murray's
They should be
going off.
4-0.
Could be.
Could be.
Say could be.
Should's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
3-1's a better.
Everybody picking the Cardinals. Next game, Eagles 1-2-1 at the Steelers at 3-0. Steelers now coming off of a bye week, 7-point favorites. Sam to my left. Who do you got?
The Steelers are going to take this one. Carson Wentz, I think, throws a couple interceptions against this very good Steelers defense, and I think the Steelers roll.
I've got the Steelers as well. I think they're in that group that we were talking about with the Bills, the Chiefs, the Packers, and the Seahawks.
Yeah, Steelers win this
They are
game.
undefeated.
They
And the
are.
Titans are
Them
too.
and the
They
Titans.
both are undefeated.
They had bye weeks. We forget about them. There's still 6 undefeated teams. That's my bad.
Yeah, last week was a weird week. Threw us off with that matchup. But, yeah, Steelers win this game against the Eagles. They're just a much better team. Eagles starting receiver, I believe, is Greg Ward.
Number one wide receiver.
That's a problem.
Former Houston quarterback.
Yeah, so I think just based off of that alone, Steelers win.
I've got the Steelers as well. I'll make it a consensus pick. The Eagles. They might make the playoffs, but they're not a good team. So,
Correct.
welcome to the NFC East.
Seems like that's the case every year.
It's gotten worse this year somehow.
It has.
Next game, Jaguars 1-3 at the Texans 0-4. Somehow the Texans are 6.5-point favorites in this one.
It's because it's the Jaguars.
It's the Deshaun Watson effect. I think
Deshaun
more
Watson
than
effect.
that.
Also, Bill O'Brien's gone, so a little bit of optimism there.
Definitely.
Really?
I think that spread's too high. I don't think the Texans cover it. However, I think the Texans get their first win of the season. It might only be one of their few wins of the season, but the Texans beat the Jaguars. So I think Deshaun Watson plays angry, gets a win.
Yeah, I also think Deshaun Watson, plays a little looser than previous weeks. He's, shed Bill O'Brien off of him. He's gone. Romeo Crennel is more of a defensive coach, so we'll see who does the play calling. But nonetheless, Texans get the victory.
Texans win this game. Huge weight off the shoulders of the Texans players, including Deshaun Watson. Jaguars aren't a bad team, but I think the Texans win this one.
Give me the Jaguars.
I knew that was coming.
There it is.
Too.
I got to
Andrew
pick.
Botwinick
You
effect.
love Gardner Minshew, too.
I do. He's awesome, but still. I mean, he's not awesome as like a great player. He's awesome
As a person, he's awesome.
Easy to root for.
Next game, the Bengals and Joe Burrow got their first win of the year. They're 1-2-1 at the Ravens, 3-1. It's a 13.5-point spread to the Ravens. Joe Burrow, congratulations. You won your first game. Now you're going to take the worst loss of your career. It's going to be a rough one for the Bengals. I got the Ravens rolling in this one.
I also have the Ravens rolling in this one. That offensive line for the Bengals is just absolutely dreadful. And Joe Burrow is going to be running for his life the entire game.
Yeah, I agree. Ravens win.
Ravens. I might be a bit closer, but I got Ravens.
Everybody on the Ravens have expected Grant to go with the Bengals
No.
and try one there. But
No.
next game, Rams 3-1, 7.5-point favorites. That team name here, who are 1-3 and half a game out of leading the NFC East. You just got to make fun of that division at any point you can at this point. But Rams 7.5-point favorites. I'll make it easy. Rams roll.
Yeah, Rams roll over Washington. The football team, is not playing well, and I think their woes continue. Dwayne Haskins, I think, struggles in this one. I think he also runs for his life a lot in this game, trying to get away from Aaron Donald.
Yeah, the best player on that Washington offense is Antonio Gibson.
Terry McLaurin.
And Terry McLaurin. Yeah, those two aren't bad, but still, Dwayne Haskins has struggled. That defense is rough right now.
Chase Young back?
Whether he's back or not, I think that's the one piece they have on that defensive side of the ball. I know, Grant, you disagree, but either way, though, the Washington football team, not a very good football team. Rams win.
I've got the Rams as well. I think it'll be interesting to see if Ramsey's going to be suspended or not.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think that's going to make a difference in the end of it. Like, he doesn't. There's not any corner or receivers out there for him to cover. So
exactly.
Next game, skipped one. Panthers 2-2 at the Falcons at 0-4. The Falcons are 2.5-point favorites. Sam.
I'm on the Panthers in this one. I think Teddy Bridgewater played very well last week, and also I just have no confidence in the Falcons. It doesn't matter if they go up 20 in this one. They're either going to blow it or they're going to be behind the entire game. It doesn't matter. Panthers, even without Christian McCaffrey, roll in this one.
Grant.
Give me the Panthers.
You don't get to go last every time.
Sorry. Give me the Panthers.
Can I go last on this one?
If you're thinking about picking the Falcons, don't worry. You're not going to be on an island. I've got the Falcons.
Okay, I had my gut said Falcons when I went through these last night. I'm sticking with it. Falcons get a win.
Oh,
You got two Falcons. It's split.
This is tough. I don't know.
I went
The
Falcons.
Falcons should be
initially.
3-1. They did not do anything to beat the Packers. They've
Thank
messed
you
up
for
and
forgetting how to play football on an onside kick, or else the
That-
Dallas Cowboys would not be winning.
It's-
Right? I would not have a win. So thank you.
They're still not winning.
The Falcons are still good enough. And I'm actually going to save this for later, but the Falcons are good.
Sneak peek for off my rocker.
Sneak peek.
Yeah, Falcons win this game.
But Falcons, I
think
think the Falcons win it. They've got the better offense. The defense played okay against the Packers. I know they had 30 points, but it's the Packers.
In almost every single game they played, they've been the better team.
Right.
They're just not winning it. They just can't win.
And you look at the game against the Packers, this team is kind of just reeling right now mentally. This is a game, division game. Go in, get the win, get the season on track. I've got the Falcons. Big game. Hopefully it happens. It kind of is leaning that way, but Bills 4-0 at the Titans 3-0, an undefeated matchup. If ties weren't a thing, some team would actually win. But I think this is one of the matchups of the weekend if it indeed happens.
Yeah, if it happens, it's going to be a great game. You have the great passing attack of the Bills. Josh Allen has been incredible this year, getting the ball to Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs has emerged as a legit number one receiver, and I think he gets the ball a lot in this one. I think the Bills take it.
Now move to Off My Rocker. Final segment here in this week's edition of the Weekend Sports Kickoff. Every week.
Can I give a quick score update from the MLB playoffs?
Yes.
And the Miami Marlins and Atlanta Braves are tied at 1-1, top of the third.
Oh,
so,
good.
just saying. MLB playoffs are rolling. I know we've been talking about football all this time, but MLB playoffs are rolling.
Off My Rocker. Reeves, what do you got?
Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns will win the NFC North and be the number one seed in the AFC in the playoffs. There you go.
I think you could have just said they would have won the NFC North, and that would have been crazy enough. My Off My Rocker is a bit of a look into the future. I think 2021.
Oh, boy.
Miami Marlins are the number one overall seed. Or not Miami Marlins, sorry. I'm not talking baseball. Miami Dolphins are number one overall seed. They're going to win the Super Bowl.
In
Whoa,
2021?
what?
Huh?
Whoa. Reeves, you said that the Browns are going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Right?
Yes, that's way more likely than this.
And you said the Dolphins are?
Not this year.
He said the Dolphins are winning the Super Bowl.
Tua
right?
is going to take them over the mountain.
So this is off my rocker for next year?
I'm just feeling so good about it because I think I'm looking at the Texans. They're going to get like a really, really high pick. From
Have
that.
we ever had, is that a first on
Wow.
off my rocker? We
Am I
have an
allowed to-
off my rocker that we have to wait till next year?
I mean, there are no rules against it, but
There
I
are
mean,
no
if you're
ru-
going to say something that crazy,
I feel like I'm off my rocker. So
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Why not just say
cow.
this year?
because I don't think they're that good this year.
But you think they're that good next year?
I think they can put it together. I like
That
it.
doesn't make sense. It doesn't make much sense for me.
I mean,
Jacob, do you want to go last or me? I think you kind of earned that right last week.
okay.
So I'll go first before you. So, I always like to do the homer off my rockers. So might as well start now.
Oh, geez.
Dallas Cowboys 1-3 right now. And looking at their schedule, they have some tough games coming up, but also a pretty easier schedule than people would think. They're going to run the table, and
Oh,
they're going to
God.
end the year.
Oh, my.
They're going to run the table and end the year 13-3.
I always off my rockers get more and more like
Run the
Just like,
table, be 13-3.
we're moving the goalposts
Have
where it's
you-
like
have you-
Dak's gonna win MVP. The Cowboys win the Super Bowl.
That's actually not
And
out
So are
of
you saying
question.
run the table to the regular season, lose first week in the playoffs?
No, run the table.
Oh
Run
my
the table. I'm not saying anything about the playoffs, but they're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. Run the
If they
table.
won
be
the table, they will
13-3.
be.
13-3.
Holy cow.
I don't know if 13-3 gets
Maybe
the
not.
1 seed in
Maybe
the
not.
NFC.
You're right.
I
You're
think
right.
it does, and I think the Cowboys get it.
Either way, if they run the table, that's ridiculous. That's not going to happen. No.
It's off my rocker for a reason, fellas.
You're way off your rocker.
Well,
Although
got-
I don't
you
know
got-
who's more
I thought
on the
mine-
rocker,
I
me
thought-
or you.
well, Grant's so far off of it that he's won today's show already.
I am.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you said the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah.
No.
No, they're not even going to win their division.
No.
They're not even going to be second in their division.
Because the Jets will be in front of them.
No, it's the Patriots.
See, I know I'm delusional
So,
because I don't even
I
think
thought-
it's that crazy.
You thought you were going to have
See,
a
I
good
thought
one.
mine was going to be crazy
You
because,
haven't even went yet.
but I alluded to what mine is.
Yeah, you had something to do with the Falcons.
Falcons are 0-4.
Yeah.
They're not going to run the table,
Thank
They're
you.
not going to run the table.
I think they could win the division.
but what they've got 12 games left.
Mm-hmm.
They go 10-2 in their last 12 games. Go 10-6, get the 7th seed in the playoffs. Falcons make the playoffs after starting the season 0-4.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean,
I like it.
no, you're off your rocker because because of their head coach and because of the way they play football and because of the way they forget to play football.
I
Yeah.
think that's a good one.
So
I think
that's
they
a
might.
good one.
I went through
That's a good one,
They-
but you're
their schedule. They've got this breathe, kind of this area here in their schedule where they're going
Who
to
do they
play
play?
under 500 teams. They have a lot of division games late, but before they get there, the Raiders,
I think they lose that. That's a
the Broncos, the Panthers, the Lions,
Panthers.
Vikings, Panthers this week. So
I heard a lot of L's there.
I didn't.
I went through and there's a lot of winnable games.
I mean,
There's a lot of winnable
There's
games.
there's like
3-1.
there's 2 games the rest of their year the Falcons will go to and be pretty big underdogs. That's probably going to be at the Saints
Yeah.
and when they play Kansas City.
Yes.
Other than that, this is a Falcons team that you look at the rest of their schedule. The Buccaneers, the Saints when they play them at home, 2 games against the Panthers, the Broncos, the Raiders. You look at all of these games, they're winnable games for the Falcons, and if they get rolling, I think the Falcons can make the playoffs.
Maybe they just have no faith in the Falcons because all those teams that you just named, I don't think they're going to beat. I mean, maybe once. Maybe the Panthers once because, they play them twice. They play division tough. But, you mentioned the Buccaneers. I don't know if they're going to beat. I don't think they can beat them. I don't think they're the better team.
I'm still not sold on the Buccaneers. They've had a
They have injury problems, too.
I'm not sold
And
either.
they've had a-
bad.
And
in
if
the
they
first
get a
half.
lead, if they get a lead on any of those teams, it's all she wrote. The other teams coming back, they're going to blow it.
see.
I know
I'll double
that's fun
down
to
and
say, but-
off my rocker. The Falcons at some point in these games that they win, the 10-2 stretch, will go up multiple touchdowns multiple times and win those football games.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I
not
think
going
they would
to.
have
They
to.
haven't proven they've been able to do that, so it's no. You're off your rocker because they haven't proven that they can go up 2 scores and win.
I think Jacob Blair is on his roster this week, believe it or not.
I don't like the Saints at all. Like, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, and I don't like that pick at all anymore. So, I mean, I don't like any of the teams in that division, honestly.
It's not quite as strong of a division as I thought it was going to be at the start. Because I had the Falcons making the playoffs originally. I had the Buccaneers missing, and I had the Saints in the Super Bowl as well. That Saints Super Bowl pick, you kind of got to stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be that
I think
guy
I
that
picked it
switches
too.
his pick.
Yeah.
It's probably not as bad as my pick, so, it's whatever.
Well, you picked a team that's,
It's got a good offense and an atrocious defense.
it's 1-3 right now, and doesn't have a lot of. Well, the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs.
Probably.
They're the best team in that division.
They'll probably, win that division.
I don't know.
Hopefully get.
I'll save another off my rocker for
Hopefully
next week.
get
It'll
to
be
9-7. Hopefully get to 9-7.
Good luck.
I don't know. Washington football team.
No, if it's either going to be the Cowboys or the Eagles.
Just like last week, this has gone off the rails as it should
of course
to end the show.
Well, it's called off my rocker for a reason. So
Right,
we're all
which
off
is
of
why
it.
we always need to abruptly end. Say that's enough. Say goodbye. We'll see everybody next week. This has been the Weekend Sports Kickoff. Sam Reeves, Grant Allen, Sam Steinmeier, Jacob Blair. See everybody next week.